Hey, what's up? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to the quarterly report for January to May 2000. Sorry, April 2015. And I'm here with a couple special people from the website. Richard Bailey, he's away on a trip right now, and he's looking quite grumpy from the looks of it. What's up, Rich?
No, I'm not grumpy from the trip. I just had to. We got to correct you for a second, Gary. It's January through March,
Through,
20.
yeah, through March. Sorry, that's what I meant. I meant like, not actually April the month, but to April. That's what I meant. My bad.
No, you good. You good. Um, yeah. How's it going, everybody? I'm currently at the Call of Duty Championship event in Los Angeles. I got my Call of Duty swag on. That's why you see me looking, swagged out right now. But I had to get on and talk about some of these games. So look forward to the discussion.
Cool, cool. How is it out there? How's the atmosphere?
Well, it's very competitive. Watching all these other people that are heavily into the game, going at each other, all these teams. Weather is nice. It's cold in here. That's why I got this hoodie on because the AC. But I have no complaints. And of course, the women look fantastic. That's the best thing that I've seen since I've been here. But yeah, good times so far.
Yeah, the editor in chief just can't stay away from LA. That's like his second home.
No,
Uh,
I didn't say that, but yeah.
Yeah, we're also here with Jake James Lugo. What's up, Jake James?
Not much. How you doing, Gary? You doing all right, bro? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. How's things with you?
So far so good. Been hard at work, doing a lot of research on stuff. Doing was it some reviews on games? One just went up today, which is cool for Damascus Gear, Operation Tokyo, which I'll probably talk about later, and a few other stuff here and there. So other than that, I'm good. Reading comics and playing games.
Cool. Enough said. We're also here with Brian Monjoma. What's up, Brian?
Nothing much, Gary. Just still patiently waiting for Drive Club PS Plus Edition still. When it comes, it'll come. Hopefully, it'll come before Half-Life 3, but you never know.
Wait, why does it say Brian Montague?
Uh,
That's his new title. You didn't heard? Brian Montague.
You had me paranoid that I messed up your name or something.
no, you were good. I'm good. Yourself, Gary? Just been enjoying some Elite Dangerous, you know? How you been doing?
Yeah, I've been doing good, man. I've been playing lots of games. I got so many games to play right now, which is good. So, yeah, I'm happy, man.
PC games, right? 'Cause we know you ain't a fan of PlayStation 4 anymore.
Yeah, look, I got a story for you guys. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but
Oh, here we go.
I brought Battlefield Hardline on PlayStation 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And started playing it and everything. But see, the PC gamer in me kicked in because I was noticing everything about the textures that would be so much better on PC. I was like, you know what? I really can't do this. And then I ended up buying it
That's
again
fun.
on PC.
Oh man.
Just
I can
because.
imagine Gary saying that to himself, just like, "Yo, guys, I can't do this. I can't do this."
So pretty much, I have two versions of the game, and I'm using the PlayStation version just to play online with friends and stuff, and the PC version to do both multiplayer and story.
When you want the real experience, you go to the PC.
Exactly. I couldn't help myself, it's just the PC gamer. But yeah, I will say with Anthony Nash. What's up, Anthony? I think this is the first time you've been on the show, right?
Yeah, it's the first time I've been on the show. Nothing much. Ready to talk about some games.
Cool, cool. So I guess let's just get it started. So we're gonna start off by talking about the first quarter of the year, our likes and dislikes. We're gonna start off talking about the games that really impressed us. So we're gonna start off with Anthony Nash. So list your three games that really impressed you this quarter.
All right, so I think the first one is probably the most recent release, and that's going to be Bloodborne for the PlayStation 4. So this is my first jump into the Dark Souls, Demon Souls series from Software series of games, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I mean, it's really hard, as I'm sure I know you're playing it. I don't know if anybody else is playing it, but I'm sure you can attest it's pretty tough.
Oh yeah, I'm playing it.
Yeah, so it's really tough, but it's fun because it gives you a lot of joy when you actually accomplish something in the game. So I like games that do that. Second one is going to be another equally hard game that I know JJ could probably attest to, Hotline Miami 2. Is a lot of fun for me, just because it gives me something to do on the PS Vita,
Oh
which
yeah.
doesn't really give me a lot of options sometimes. But
Oh yeah.
when there are games like this, I have to get them on the Vita so I can at least say I have a Vita for something. But a lot of the times, it was making me want to throw my Vita against the wall sometimes because it was pretty tough. But the game is great, soundtrack's great. It's just a lot of fun, really. I would suggest everybody go out and play that.
Yeah, I got that too. I really wanted to put that on my list, but I couldn't. But yeah, that was a great game. I'm glad someone else mentioned it.
It's better on Vita than it is on PlayStation 3, I will say, and PS4. I think that game is really ideal to play on the Vita.
Yeah. The third one is going to be, I thought I was thinking about putting Majora's Mask on here, but I really enjoyed the second episode of Tales from the Borderlands, and I don't know if that's kind of like cheating, but it technically is a game that came out this quarter. And if you haven't been playing the Tales from the Borderlands games from Telltale, and you're a fan of Borderlands, you definitely need to go out and play that because that's probably their best series of episodic games so far, for me anyway. It's funny, the story's great, characters are all amazing, voice acting's all super well done, and it was just a lot of fun.
Have you played the Game of Thrones one also?
No, I have not gotten a chance to play the Game of Thrones one,
Oh,
actually.
okay, cool. I've got the Borderlands one already, but I just haven't played it yet. I need to play it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially if you like Borderlands, because you're used to that sort of like humor. Everyone's like really funny, and like the voice acting is all well done. The music that they choose is great.
Cool. So that's Anthony Nash's games that he was excited for this quarter. So we'll move on to Brian Manjoma now. Brian, give us your games.
Okay. First one is Dying Light. This game is a zombie game like no other, but yet like every other zombie game at the same time. Essentially, first-person combat meets parkour, and it's not done in the best way possible, but it's fun and it's satisfying. And I played it till the end. Ending's kind of crappy, but overall, like the journey was worth it. You know, the ending, like the destination may have been raining and shut down, but the journey to get there was great.
I don't know if the ending was kind of crappy, but it was definitely crappy. Very crappy.
It could have been worse, given how games
it could
end
have been.
these days. It could have been worse. You know.
That's a game where I thought the side missions were a lot more entertaining than the actual story.
Yeah, pretty much. I ended up finishing the game like 5 levels higher than everyone else did because just side missions and goofing around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely one that took up my time, which I enjoyed. Second one is Life is Strange. This is like an adventure game, kind of. Yeah. Let's say adventure game, and it sort of feels like a coming of age story of a teenage girl, and it's again you don't get many games from a female perspective of life, and not even one like of that age. So it was interesting, you know, to play a game to that storyline, and also time travel. Anything with time travel, I'm just in there because I just enjoy the paradoxes. So that's always a plus for me. Last one is Zombie Army Trilogy. A long time ago, the Sniper Elite franchise, then Sniper Elite 2 and 3 came out afterwards. Essentially, they took the engine of that and added zombies to it. So essentially, it's your horde mode, but then it also has the X-rays and slow motion of the Sniper Elite franchise, and there's co-op and all sorts, like up to 8 players. And essentially, the trilogy is the first 2 just remastered, and a third one which was never released. So technically, it's the kind of counts. No, because I know that our rule that remasters don't count, but then this trilogy is its own thing. But
Yeah, and it adds its own thing into it.
Yeah, the third one has never been released, so I don't know
Right.
where that fits in. But it's zombies, it's slow motion, and it's really cool just seeing how the bullet trajectory just goes in and messes up the human body. It's really weird. I always try and make sure to get the teeth knocked out when I shoot, but never happens. I always hit like a bit lower and smash the jawline, or hit higher and then just mess up the whole faceplate. But I'll get there eventually. Hey, it's games. It's entertainment. And plus, they're zombies and Nazis, and it's okay to kill them apparently.
Right.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and that's my 3.
Okay, a lot of variety in these lists so far. I'm liking it. That's good. I know we're going to get a lot of variety from this man too, Mr. Jake James Lugo. So
Yeah.
give us your list.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty much all over the place like these past couple months when it comes to playing games. So I got a lot of good ones offhand. I guess I'll start off by saying that, like Anthony, I'm kind of compelled to put Majora's Mask 3D on there because it was a hell of a release and a hell of a game to play on 3DS. I think that game still holds up. But in its place, even though I'm just going to mention that, I'll say Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I'll definitely say that was a interesting release as well, and I think it was a good game for what it was, despite some of my reservations about it on 3DS. I mean, it's kind of added a lot of the stuff of what I said with Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which adding the online play, adding different monsters and such. It has different weapon classes for you to use, as well as also little kind of mechanics changes, not only to the environment but also the way that you interact with monsters. I mean, the different wyverns and types of big beasts that you actually fight now can actually change up the environment more so than in previous titles in the series, where they'll knock down pillars or they'll take down whole areas to open up a brand new section of the map for you to explore and such. There's a lot of things going on with that game, and again, just the multiplayer really adds to it, and it's ideal on the 3DS. I mean, it kind of released hand in hand with the new 3DS model that came out earlier this year. So, I mean, it's a great release, and again, if you're a fan of the series, if you've been with it from the beginning all the way back on PlayStation 2, this is the best one to date, in my opinion, and I'm surprised that it hasn't really kind of gotten a port yet to the Wii U, because I figure that, much like Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, it would get a lot going for it with the graphical upgrade. It would get a lot going for it for being online on the Wii U through Nintendo's infrastructure, even though it is, kind of here and there. But again, great game nonetheless for the first quarter of this year. Second one I'm going to mention is Hotline Miami 2. Like Anthony, again, that game is good. Despite my frustration, like Anthony, I wanted to throw my PS Vita across the room on more than one occasion because I think that game is hard as balls. Literally, it's ridiculously hard. I cannot stress that enough. But at the same time, what I think that, despite the difficulty spikes, that's really what it is with that game. I really think that what this game does well is atmosphere and style and flair and its own kind of identity, because I mean it takes place in kind of the late 80s into early 90s, roughly around that time frame. And just the music, the soundtrack, which I think is the best soundtrack I've heard in a while, right next to a couple other games I'm going to talk about. And it's an interesting, neat little game to kind of follow along the story, which could be a little confusing at times, but it keeps you intrigued throughout the entire experience. It keeps you wanting to come back for more, despite all the headache that you go through in some of the missions that you actually play through. There's one mission I remember. That the character you play, because you play multiple characters in this game, where you actually have to escape from a prison, where you have to go from one spot, which is a prison yard, kill the guy that's actually trying to kill you, where it's just a big giant prison fight. After you do that, you have to make your way through the building, avoiding guards and prisoners, go steal an actual cop uniform, and then escape the actual prison. So through all that, it's a bunch of headache-inducing encounters with a bunch of enemies, where it takes a lot of strategy involved in order to kind of bypass areas, not just simply just do little tricks to kind of kill all the enemies on the map. You have to really think and really plan out and be precise in your movements with it. So definitely, if you played the first Hotline Miami, this is a big step up from this first one. It's a really fun game, despite all the headaches. And then finally, right now, which I think is the best game released hands down this entire first quarter, Ori and the Blind Forest. I cannot recommend this game enough, because this game, here's the thing, and it's a funny story about this, because last year when I went to E3, I remember playing this game and writing the preview for it at E3 that year. And there was something about that game where I'm kind of a sucker for whimsical experiences and whimsical aesthetics in games that really kind of resonates with me really heavily. And this game caught my eye because having seen a lot of Miyazaki films and kind of experienced that type of side of the anime genre, of different films and like cartoons and stuff, it really kind of spoke to me in that way. But the visual aesthetic of it, the ambiotic sounds, the soundtrack, the musical score done by Moon Studios, the gameplay, the solid, tight controls, all of it just comes together so damn well, and it creates one of the best experiences I've had to date on the Xbox One. Better than most of the AAA experiences that have come out for the system. Literally, I think this is the game right now, despite it being somewhat short. A lot of people are capping off their actual playthroughs at around 10 hours. I feel like it wasn't necessarily that amount. I think my playthrough might have been a little bit shorter, give or take. It just didn't feel as long as what people were saying. But this is the reason why to own an Xbox One, in my opinion. If you had a lot of your reservations, a lot of your headaches with Master Chief Collection, or the underwhelmingness with Sunset Overdrive or Titanfall and such, if you want a game that really kind of has you coming out of the experience, satisfied and really kind of like wanting more with your Xbox One, this is definitely a game that you actually need to pop into your console. Because for me, this is a Game of the Year contender, hands down. And I really don't say that a lot about a lot of games, especially when they're so like fresh in my mind and such. I usually have reservations here or there, but this game just hit me on such a visceral level with everything going for it. I really believe that this is one of the best games of this year thus far. So you guys really need to play this. I encourage everybody listening to this podcast, everybody here on the panels now. It's that good of a game. It's really, really good. Moon Studios went above and beyond.
Yeah, I wanted to play it when it came out, but I haven't had a chance yet.
I really believe at some point, because Moon Studios and Microsoft Studios, working on this game, that this game at some point will be on Games for Gold. I know me and Rich were talking about this at one point, that he's thinking of getting it as well, but he wants to wait in case it does go on Games for Gold. So if it hasn't gone already, I'm pretty sure it will at some point.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, awesome. That was a cool list there. Okay, so before we get to the editor-in-chief, I think I'm going to go first.
Uh-oh. This is
So,
going to be interesting. I got to hear this.
which one should I say? Okay, so my first one is Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, and previously Dragon Ball Z games weren't that great. Like, I didn't play a lot of them because after a while they got boring. There wasn't really much they could do to reinvent the wheel besides like add new characters and stuff. And it was just kind of a B-list fighting game, really. Like, there wasn't really anything special about the games. But Dragon Ball Xenoverse is like completely different. It's not purely just a fighting game. The fighting mechanics themselves aren't what you would get from a usual fighting game. It's kind of real arcadey and fun. But what I really like about the game is that you can make your own character. You can pick from 5 different races in the Dragon Ball Z universe. And you can interact with other players too. You can do quests with other players, and you can relive key moments in the Dragon Ball Z timeline. But the story is also unique because you have these demons that are coming back to try and change things throughout the timeline and manipulate the characters and everything. So I like that whole angle, and you can grind the game to collect cool items like the Dragon Balls themselves. You can collect the Dragon Balls and make a wish for, items or new characters or whatever you want. And, you can collect costumes and moves, skills for your character. You can have some of the famous Dragon Ball characters as your master, and they can train you and teach you their moves. Like, there's so much to this game that makes it the perfect fan service for a Dragon Ball Z fan. And I think if you ever watched the anime and you liked it, you should definitely check out this game. It's nothing like the other games at all. So I was very impressed with that game, and I reviewed it as well on the website. So go check that out. My second game is going to be Battlefield Hardline because I actually didn't expect this game to be that great. Battlefield 4, I spent a lot of time playing that game. But when it first came out, it was plagued with issues, even on the PC version. Like the netcode was terrible, and there was all kinds of bugs and glitches. And Battlefield Hardline, the fact that it was being developed by Visceral, so it wasn't even DICE behind it and everything. It kind of gave me reservations a bit. Like I didn't know what to expect, but it actually turned out quite good. And I like the TV style presentation of the main story. Like it kind of breaks it down really well into chunks. And I like that, you get the on the next episode sequence and everything, and it shows you what happened in the previous episode when you resume the game and stuff. Like all that stuff is pretty cool. And I also like the multiplayer, like the new modes that they added, including heist and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Battlefield series, period. But I didn't expect to like this game, and the fact that I do, the fact that I liked it enough to buy it twice, that just goes to show how impressed I am. So definitely have to show that some love. And also, the next game is Bloodborne. Um, I don't have too much experience with the Souls series. I never bothered to get into it. I did buy Dark Souls 2 on PC, and I played it for like an hour or two. I got totally lost in that game. I didn't know what to do. So that kind of put me off. I do plan on revisiting the game, but I just gotta have the time to put into it to figure out what to do, because I didn't want to rely on game guides and stuff. So I wanted to really figure out what was going on, but I just couldn't do it. But Bloodborne, it's more, it's more streamlined, it's more focused. Like you just go in, kill shit, and there's a challenge too. And I really like the challenge. Like even though I'm terrible at the game, I'm still on the first level, by the way, because I've been playing other games too, so I haven't put my all into it yet. But I'm just learning the mechanics and everything, and I'm really enjoying it. Even when I die, it's still fun to play, like because you get to think about what you're going to do next time to get further, and make sure that you don't die again. So dying is actually a learning experience. And I think it's a great way to train gamers into becoming better gamers too, instead of just relying on all the casual games out there. It's kind of reminds me of Hotline Miami in a way. It's that kind of pleasurable fun to find out what happens next, and you get that satisfaction from passing all the hard parts of the stage and everything. So I'm really liking that game. I like the RPG elements to it. The character creator is really good. And it's the first real solid PS4 game exclusive that's come out. So, I had to drop that on the list for that reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good. You said that you learn stuff when you die. That's really odd because I heard that you don't learn anything like when you die in that game.
Yeah, I also heard that you don't get anything when you die. You don't get anything given to you, unfortunately.
Anyway.
And he's trying to start something there with that comment.
You know me, I always had to do the small jabs. That's
I think if you don't like Bloodborne, you're a racist.
whoa, that's too far. That is too far. I resent that.
Well, I'm playing. But yeah, Richard, what's your list for this score?
Well, let me go ahead and say this. I do have something shocking on the list. But I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna first get the two out the way, and then I'm gonna go to the shocking one. First and foremost, Dying Light. Pretty much agree with everything Brian said. This was a game that I had no expectation of what it was going to be. I knew that it was a game that everybody was looking forward to. At the time, there wasn't really any games out because the year had just started. So I went into this game and I was kind of interested in it, but I wasn't really sure about it yet. When I started playing the game, and particularly when I started playing the campaign with Charles, played with Tony as well. Man, the game is a lot of fun. The parkour stuff really brings it to another level. It's not like it's a regular Dead Island. I mean, and that was really what drew me into the game. Then when I heard that the developers sold very well. It was the top-selling game. Almost going on 2 months now. Yeah, they deserve all of that because the game was awesome. Now, with that said, the story wasn't excellent. That was probably the only issue with the game. My only issue with the game, but the world is just so massive. You're able to explore stuff. That was really what drew me into the game. So, good game. Definitely recommend it for those who want to buy it. It's probably going to be cheap now, but yeah, definitely worth checking out. Next game on the list. Again, this was already mentioned by somebody else as well. Um, I enjoyed Battlefield Hardline. I enjoyed it a lot, to the point where I just put a review on the site the other day. Uh, that single player campaign, though, I've said it in my review. I'm gonna say it again. That is the best single player campaign that has ever been done in a Battlefield series. Period. Because of the TV style presentation, but also because of the way that they changed the gameplay in the sense, you're playing as a police officer, but you have the ability to arrest people. There are stealth elements in that. Now, of course, if you want to just run and gun through the game, you can. But there are times when you can use stealth to sneak up on a adversary and arrest them. I thought that was awesome, and then that helps you level up quicker and unlock more weapons. So that is a little something different than you just basically going around shooting everybody. You don't have to do that, and they also encourage you to do that because they have certain enemies that have arrest warrants in the game that you have to arrest to earn bonuses. So
Yeah,
very
that
fun
stuff
game.
is great, man, because it kind of persuades you to play in a new way. Like it's not, because some games you get put off by playing stealthily, like being forced to play stealth. But in this game, it feels like you actually want to because you want to be able to arrest people because you'll get more points and stuff, and you could get those arrest warrants and stuff. So I'm actually finding myself want to play with stealth, and I get annoyed when they discover me down there and start shooting at me. So
Well, yeah.
I get annoyed when I have to shoot in a shooting game. So there you go.
Well, just imagine. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you play on veteran difficulty, you get annoyed now. Well, just wait till you play on that difficulty setting and try and sneak up on people. It's very, very aggravating. But hey, it's rewarding. It's fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm surprised you picked that game though, man. I didn't expect you to pick it.
well, you'll be surprised with my next pick. I mean, you all will be surprised with my next pick. Um, But yeah, Battlefield, great game, definitely worth checking out. And now, the moment everybody's been waiting for, the game, and this is a game I really found myself surprised that I even consider this to be on the list. But I have to say it, The Order 1886.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you why I
Cue
put
the
Here we
gasps.
go. Here we go.
Let me tell you why I say it is. Now, this game is not perfect. Of course, it's not perfect. It has a lot of flaws that will keep it from being perfect, such as the fact that the story itself. I did not like how they ended the story because now you have the main villain in the game is not pursued. Sorry to for spoiler alert for those, but come on now. If you ain't played it by now, I mean it's so doggone short. You should have already all played it. But quite frankly, that was one of the main issues I had with the game. I had a couple other issues, but the reason why I say it's a standout game for me is I enjoyed the experience. Even though it had flaws, I enjoyed pretty much playing through the game from start to finish. Um, and the story there were some things that were good about the story. It's a lot of promise for what is to come if they make a sequel, but I don't see why they wouldn't because it sold well enough to get on the NPD list. So that means that maybe it is an opportunity that we will see another sequel. We should anyway because they have a lot more to finish and explain. Um, but still, in my opinion, I enjoyed the experience. I did not. I mean, people. I saw people giving the scores ridiculously low scores. I don't think it deserved some of those fours and threes and all the other low scores. It definitely didn't deserve all of that because the game is not that bad. There are other games that were a lot more horrible that definitely deserve the numbers that they had, but this is a game that didn't. And then the developers made it clear in the beginning they wanted to make a cinematic experience, so you already knew it was going to be different from what you was going to expect. So, but for those reasoning, I mean, I know it had its flaws, but I'd still be like, well, hey, I played a lot worse. Divinity. That Divinity port on Xbox 360 from several years ago, which I trashed it in the review. That was a horrible port, and that made me see, like, you know what? I would never play this game ever again. Now, PC version, we already know that's superior and better because it's on the PC, but that was a horrible port over to Xbox 360. Terrible game. But this game, way better than that, at least. And like I said, again, it has its flaws, but hey, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think that Anthony's review summed it up perfectly. Everything the positives and negatives of the game. So, yeah, that's my pick.
All right, that's an interesting list right there. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to disappointments, and we're gonna list a game that we were disappointed by in this quarter, so January through March. So we'll start off with Anthony again. Anthony, what was your disappointment?
So this is funny because this is probably gonna be a little shock, but I was actually pretty. All right, so let me preface this. I had high hopes for this game, and I really, the word disappointed doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy playing it, but it just means that from what I assumed and thought it would be, I was disappointed after the fact. And it's funny that I was chosen next because it's The Order 1886. So
Wow.
I like the game, and there are great things about the game. It has a lot of promise to be a sequel. And like Richard said, I'm sure there's going to be a sequel, and I hope that they do great things with the sequel. But when I first got a chance to play the game at E3, I was really excited to play it. The game looks amazing, probably the best looking game on any console right now. But the story was a little iffy. The length of the game has nothing to do with it, but the story was a little iffy, and the combat, especially when you're fighting the werewolves, was just not as fun as I was hoping. Like the wolves just didn't seem as intimidating. They were just kind of there, and I was just disappointed. But that really has more to do with my own expectations. But I was still, after the fact, I was just kind of like, oh man, like I wish they had done a little more to this.
Yeah, I agree with all that said. The werewolf, yeah, definitely, that's on point.
Yeah, the werewolves were just, I don't know, they were supposed to be scary, but they really weren't because you just kind of dodged them and shot at them, and then that was it. And then you like pressed a button to kill them. I think the werewolves in Bloodborne are a lot scarier than the werewolves that are in the Order.
Oh, yes.
Everything in Bloodborne is so much more scary or intimidating. Even the skeletons there are like completely badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually have the Order. I've yet to play it, so that's why I couldn't really talk about it much.
Right. It's still fun. It's a fun game, but it's just not. I guess, like I said, because I played it at E3, I played it at like PAX Prime when it was there, and I was so ready for it that I guess I just let myself get a little too excited over it.
I want to say something real fast. I would have loved to put a game like Ori on my list, but I have yet to play that game. So
you won't regret it.
I'm going to buy the games I played that I've enjoyed to some degree. So
to some degree.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So Brian Mondrama, what was your disappointment?
Well, you know how in video games when you like face the last boss, you do it 3 times?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the Order 1886 again. That's why I was laughing when Rich made it his and Anthony started saying that just because a game is disappointing, it doesn't mean that I didn't like it. I'm like, damn, the Order. So okay, yeah, I just thought that it fell short of what they wanted it to be and what it should have been. I thought it was going to be not like the grand spectacle scale of like an Uncharted, but more of like a focused, like targeted, I guess precision attack, like Bloodborne. Like targeted to a specific audience, very tight, very like niche things. But from what I've seen, and I've seen a lot of stuff from different people, it just seemed that it was like they had an idea, and then at some point someone got involved and it got washed down because you can definitely see that there's a lot of potential in that game. Like if they had added like maybe 2 or 3 more weapons, a lot more sci-fi-esque weapons, like maybe gotten the guys from Insomniac in there because they had like a rich history with like Ratchet and Clank stuff. Like got them in to like expand on like the arsenal. Maybe focus a bit more on the sci-fi side of it because like that's what I thought was pretty cool. Because I thought that the setting was like phenomenal. Like as much as I bitch about the game, the setting I thought was phenomenal because you don't get game set in that era like very often. So I thought the setting was pretty cool, but it just and then the whole thing with the werewolves as well. Like I thought that the werewolves would play like a big part in the whole series, but then to hear that you don't really face off against them much, it's kind of like, huh. So what's the point of advertising them? You know, like surely you advertise them because they play like a big part in the game. So it's disappointing to see a game from a studio that has done good things in the past not do as well as I think that they should have done. But as you guys said, like it made to the top 10 MPD. So most likely we will see a sequel, and hopefully the sequel will be all that it should have been. And yeah, I'm sorry. It just fell short for me. I probably won't ever pick it up because bad taste. And if there's a sequel, I'll probably pick that up when I get my PS4. But yeah, I was just not happy with that game.
That's interesting. I really got to play it now just to see what's up. Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. So, James Luger, what was your disappointment?
Well, I'm gonna kind of break the mold here and not get on Rich's case about the Order 1886.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna change things up a little bit. But one thing I will preface by saying is that there was a worse game that came out recently, compared to the one I'm actually going to mention now. So if you want to know why, go check out my recent review up on thecoalition.com. But what I will say is the game that really disappointed me that got released earlier this year was actually Scream Ride for Xbox One. And I know Rich liked it because he did the review. He gave it a decent score and stuff. I actually was really disappointed for a couple different reasons. While visually it looks cool, it looks very stylized, with like a pseudo-realistic type of look and aesthetic to it. The one biggest problem that I have with this game is that for a game that's touts so much about being a part of like roller coasters and like really like experiencing not only building but also like riding roller coasters, it's a game that I feel has like a struggle with identity where there's 3 different gameplay styles to it and it's like all over the place. I feel that the best part about it, obviously, is riding the roller coasters, and it's fun for what it is. I think that some of the controls and some of the mechanics to it are kind of flawed. There's a lot of issues where you'll go onto a turn and then you'll do what you need to do in order to make the turn, so that way you don't like derail the coaster, and you end up derailing the coaster anyway because of like something really random and stupid that was out of your control. And to me that doesn't make any sense. At the same time, you had like 2 other gameplay styles which had nothing to do with the idea of riding roller coasters. I mean, you had that creation type of thing where it was called Engineer, where you're able to build roller coasters and actually go through like riding them or seeing like different riders actually go through the roller coaster and actually see if it's exciting or whatnot. But then you have this thing called the Demolition Expert, which is just like it's completely random where you have to destroy buildings or different structures by throwing using a catapult to throw these different types of like spheres or cabins as they call them into them and to hope that to God that it actually brings them down. And it just seems very random and out of place for me. It didn't control right. It was very RNG, if you guys understand what I'm saying, random number generated, where it's kind of like you have to kind of rely on luck of the draw in order to make things go a certain way, and it's not really based on your skill. It really kind of like eggs at your patience a little bit. So I felt that was like the most disappointing game that I played to date thus far, especially jumping on the Xbox One for me where it's kind of new. That like to me that was like one game where I was really kind of disappointed to actually go through.
I like to say something about that real fast.
Go ahead.
I think the way you described all of that is right on the money. yes, it does have an identity crisis. And like I said in my review, this is a game that's not for everybody. I think, if I was to have a conversation with somebody, they asked me, I want to buy an Xbox One, I would tell them, well, this is a game you don't buy for the system. You don't buy the game for that reasoning. But yeah, I agree. It has a lot of issues, a lot of identity stuff. So that's all I wanted to say.
Tell them to go buy Ori.
Yeah, they could buy Ori or Forza Horizon 2, which is the best game on the system. But I'm not going to get into that discussion.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I was actually disappointed with Scream Ride just because I like the concept, but it doesn't seem like they executed it well enough. But I haven't actually played the game, so it's not on my list. The game that is my disappointment is Evolve. I've actually played that.
That's a good choice, actually, because I heard a lot of bad things about that game.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean that's another game where I really like the concept. It's just the execution is lacking, and there's just not enough content to keep a player coming back to the game.
Yes.
Like I really don't see how they could charge people $60 for this game.
It just got new DLC. Did you hear about that recently?
I know all about that DLC.
Well, what's in the DLC?
It's like guns or something, I think. Isn't it supposed to be like extra guns and also a monster?
4 new hunters and the new monster.
See, that still doesn't seem worth it.
By the way, this is a monster that was a pre-order for those that pre-ordered the game, and if they didn't, then they're paying $15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that still doesn't seem worth it at all.
Wow.
So that game to me was a letdown just because I like the concept so much, and I think that there's a lot they could have did with it. So, Rich, what's your disappointment?
Well, yeah, once again, this is very funny because that is the game that was my disappointment. As someone who played it and reviewed the game, and mind you, now Chris Seeley, he was one of the Throwdown. Me and him got a chance to play the beta for this game when it dropped on Xbox One prior to the launch of the actual game, and there wasn't hardly any content in it.
Oh, also remember, it was at E3 when we went. There was that big event that they had for Evolve.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, you're right. They also had it at PAX East.
They marketed it a lot.
I recall playing it at the PAX East prior to that other event. And they only had one matchup, so at the time that was. Now let me say this: at that PAX East, is there everyone who knows PAX East? They normally have a big game at that event. I don't know if they had it this year. If it was a big game.
It was Final Fantasy 15 this year. That was the game that was good.
They also had Overwatch from Blizzard that had like a huge booth.
Yeah.
Ah, that's the game. Awesome. Well, in the past they had The Last of Us. That was awesome. And they had Max Payne 3, also awesome. But the year I was there, they had Evolve, and of course everybody made a big deal because that was the first time you could play it. It was okay. I said, okay, this is fun. So I get the build of the game, the final build of the game, and I play, and I'm like, this is exactly what I played in the beta. Where's the content at? Where's the content? So we keep playing. The game is all right. It's okay. It's a lot of things that work well about it, but again, it's about the content. And then on top of the content, one of the biggest things with this game, this is a game that you can't play with just anybody. You have to play with people who actually know how to play and communicate, because if not, you'll go into a matchup as a team and you will lose to the monster every time because your teammates done stupid stuff. They're not working together. Everybody's doing their own thing instead of working as a unit. So this is a game that, like so many other multiplayer games, the team that you have is vital to success. And that was the main thing, the main issue with that game. I played with a lot of people who would do whatever. They wouldn't follow rules. If we had a game plan to do something, they would just say, well, screw this, I'm going to do whatever, and then they get killed. They want to be revived, and yeah, there's too many issues with that. But 2K and the way they handle DLC, that is the main issue with this. Because if the DLC, first and foremost, if the game launched and it was $30, that would have been fine. And then the DLC, that's fine. But the fact that it's a full price game, it's missing content, And it's missing a hell of a lot of content. And then they're still adding stuff to it because they're going to add more maps and modes. Same thing that they did with Titanfall. That's the problem with it. Because to me, if you were selling me an unfinished game and you're going to charge me full price, that is the highway robbery. So to me, while the order would appear to be, well, that's the most disappointing game. No, this game, it has to be this because it's missing so much. And of course, the Left 4 Dead people, I expect them. Like I said, it's a good concept, but I would just tell them, you know what, y'all should have just made Left 4 Dead 3. Don't make this game because at least then with that, I think it would have gotten an even better response. But what I said doesn't really matter because that sold well on NPDs too. So they will continue to release content like they're doing now. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said, including the Titanfall comparison, because I was going to compare it to that too. But I actually think Titanfall had more content than Evolve did. So
You're right. And one last thing I will say, you are right about that, but the one last thing I will say, and I kid you not, after playing Titanfall and Evolve, and then I turn around and I play a game like the most recent Battlefield and the last Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare. Those games have now, I have a whole ton of respect for those games because the campaigns in both of those games are phenomenal. Whereas a game like Evolve and Titanfall, they don't really have a campaign. So now I value campaigns a lot more. And if I had to say, yeah, obviously those are the best games that are on the market as far as shooters, in my opinion, right now. Evolve is okay, but it's missing so much. It's like, no, it can't be in the same discussion. Titanfall as well. So hopefully when they make Titanfall 2 and Evolve 2 or whatever the hell they do, they will actually have a campaign that is actually meaningful. But then again, they probably won't because the game sold well enough, whereas I guess this is what people want. They just want multiplayer. They don't want all of the other stuff. They're going to do what they want to. That's what the people want. So we'll see what happens. But just saying, there's no exaggeration. The campaign in Advanced Warfare in Battlefield Hardline 20 times better than any other shooter I've been playing over the last couple months. It is what it is.
yeah, cool. So we're gonna move on to the next quarter now, and we're gonna give a game that we're excited for and that we think is gonna meet our expectations, and a game that we feel will be disappointing in the next quarter. So the next quarter covers April through June. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm gonna mix things up now, and I'm gonna go with Jake James Lugo first. So give us the game that you're looking forward to next quarter.
So there's a lot to choose for next quarter. I mean, there's a bunch of games, and it's a little bit of a pain in the butt because there's a bunch of games where I'm really excited about. If I had to choose one, though, I'm going to go with the safer one now. That's the most recent coming up is Mortal Kombat X. I think that's the game that really, right now, besides myself, a lot of people on here and a lot of people probably listening to this are really excited about because I think the marketing for Mortal Kombat X has been genius at this point. Even with the leaks that have been coming out here and there, I think that Ed Boon and all the creative team over at NetherRealm are really having a lot of fun. Not only developing this game, but also just telling people about it. I mean, if you watch any of their streams that they do on Twitch TV, you could see that they really have a really fun time actually, playing the game, showing people the different variations on the fighters, announcing different aspects of the game. The quitality, I think, is the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. To deal with people that quit during online matches. I think that's that's like a very NetherRealm or a very Mortal Kombat Team-esque type of humor that you would only find from them because they just have fun with the development of their games. So you could really feel that and see that in the quality of stuff that they've actually been releasing to the public. So I think that game is really going to kind of blow everybody away when it finally comes out because if we've seen so much of it now and we're that excited about it, for it to release, I can only imagine what it's going to be like when we finally get the game.
Yeah, that's a good pick right there. I'm definitely looking forward to that too. So I'm gonna go to Brian Manjoma. What game are you looking forward to next quarter?
Now, this one was a very difficult choice because again, the obvious choice is GTA 5 for PC, since it's still not here yet. But I, it was too easy to go for, and then the next obvious choice was Project Cars, which was delayed until May. But then again, that might get delayed once again. So I'll go with the safe option because I played the prequel to it, or played the first one, and I really enjoyed it because the humor, the writing, the gameplay itself was just it was fun, and that would be Magicka 2. For all you guys who are not familiar with Magicka, and probably most of you aren't since the first one was only on PC anyway, it's essentially a action RPG with four players, and essentially you play a wizard. And how it works is that there are 8 different elements, and then you can mix them together, and then depending on how you mix them, you can create like different things and different effects. So of course you have your basic elements, and then of course there's some healing ones as well. So you can mix it up so that, let's say you put a rock with some fire, you can create a fireball. Let's say that you create rock with some ice, and then you do it with a blast, then you create like a blast of rock and ice, to slow down and damage enemies. This actually gets really interesting because the mechanics of the game, it works off of real-life physics. So let's say that you drench your enemy by creating a storm cloud, then you zap them with lightning, they take extra damage. Or if they are wood-based creatures and you hit them with fire, they take extra damage. It's all that that combination and whatnot. It's almost like a thinking man's game, but at the same time it's fun enough so that you can experiment and get different results. Like for example, certain spells will like either blast the combination, or they'll place it on yourself. So let's say that you're on fire. You can cast a water spell on yourself to put yourself out. But then also, if you zap with some electricity, it's like zap you as well because you're also wet. So there's that combination and thinking, and it's really fun. The writing is very funny. It's akin to like the funnier parts of Borderlands. There's lots of pop culture references. There was I remember in the first one there was tons. There were references to 300, references to the zombie games, to vampires and all sorts. It's a funny game, and honestly it deserves a look. And if you are in the mood for something fresh and original, and you have a PC or PS4, then I recommend you look up Magicka when the time comes. I know that I will be.
Oh yeah, I've actually got the first game on PC. I have a question for you actually. Like, can you play that game solo, or do you really need 4 players?
You need 4 players.
See, that's my problem because I started it with 4 players, but then I couldn't get the same 3 people to play with me again.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you need 4 players. It was built for 4 players. Just going solo is possible, but you have to be incredibly quick and just be on top, just on point. You see those StarCraft players? You need to be like that, essentially, if you're playing solo.
Okay. That sucks because I want to play the game, but I need a team to play it with.
I'm sorry. Can I say something real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
Say something real fast. Because you said that you now need a team to finish. You said there were 3 others. Why are they not playing this game now? Is this a sign that the game may not be quite as intriguing as it is?
No, it's just because schedules get in the way and people are playing other games and stuff. I think I played it with David, Assad, and Dro. I think those were the 3. And Dro, he's got a crazy schedule. David's always busy. And Assad is playing some space simulation game or something. So it's hard to get everyone on the same page again to play it.
That's understood.
And plus, this game came out in 2011, so there's been a wealth of games since then.
Yeah, I remember having a lot of fun though when we did play it, but it's just a shame. It's just a shame that I can't play it.
And also, you can cross the streams. You can cross the streams and make your attacks way more powerful.
Nice Ghostbusters reference though. Okay, so we're gonna go to Richard Bailey. Which game are you most looking forward to, and
Oh
that you
man,
think you'll be impressed by? I already know what you're gonna say, but
this
go ahead.
is this is very difficult. Well, you may know, you not know, you don't this time. This is very difficult. This is
Oh,
a very
really?
difficult decision because in my mind, I already know that the game that I would mention is a game of the year already because I've said it so many times on the podcast. Um, so I'm going to save all of that. All I have to say for that game when we get to the game of the year discussion. It's already a game of the year to me, so I'm not going to say that's the game that I think is looking forward to the most.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
say Batman Arkham Knight,
Oh,
and
okay.
the reason why is simple. Okay, number one, this is the first mature rated Batman game that is being made by Rocksteady. It's Rocksteady's last game, and they recently delayed it because they still wanted to get it correct. Now I don't know what more they can do to a game in 3 additional weeks because they only delayed it by 3 weeks. I'm not sure what it is they can do to make it better in those 3 weeks. But I will say this: I'm very much looking forward to that game because of all the attention on it. Because they have said time and time again this is the final Batman game. Um, then I'm expecting excellence on every level. Now, the game I was going to mention, which you will probably mention, you already know. We already know that's the game of the year in the discussion now, before it even comes out, because everyone knows The Witcher 3, that's the game that everybody's going to be talking about. And no disrespect to Dragon Age and the other RPGs that are out, but listen, when this game comes out, I guarantee to you, I guarantee everything stops. There's no other game coming out around this time when that comes out. So I'm very interested to see how it does. But for the sake of this discussion, more than that, than The Witcher 3, Batman, because I'm a Batman fan, and I want Rocksteady to knock this game out the ballpark. The fact that it's mature tells me they everything is off. There's no hold barred with everything, so I'm expecting it to deliver in every way imaginable. Now we'll see if it does, but that's my pick.
I would have chose that because again, that's going to be such a big game. There's so many good games coming up to choose from, but that one's going to be extra special. And I think a lot of people are really, especially after Arkham Origins, which is
Hmm.
because it wasn't done by Rocksteady. A lot of people have a lot of high hopes for this one, and some people even have an ideal way or like different ideas of how they could end that series, since they're taking a lot of nods from the animated cartoon series. I mean, if you're a Batman Beyond fan, you probably already know what I'm alluding to.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, you're gonna have to spoil that for me after the show because I want to know, and
A
I
little,
haven't watched Batman Beyond. So.
little quick thing, I guess, just to sum it up in a nutshell, is basically that in the animated series, they continued the continuity with something called Batman Beyond, where basically Batman is an old man, and he kind of passes on the mantle to a guy named Terry McGinnis, who's much younger, who just
Mhm.
happens to also be almost like a pseudo clone of Bruce Wayne, with a lot of other like story elements that come up.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Batman, that's definitely one of the ones I'm looking forward to. But well, let's see what Anthony's looking forward to. Anthony, what's your game for next quarter?
So, well, Richard just said it, not Batman, but The Witcher is going to be mine.
Oh, there
I
you
got
go.
I got a chance to play like almost like an hour demo of it, or like just an hour playthrough of it at PAX East, and it was a lot of fun. And I mean, I've never played Dragon Age, but like Richard said, like this game is hyping up to be so good that I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, the world is supposed to be huge. If you've played Witcher 1 and 2, the story is awesome. The the characters are well written. They develop along as you play. Soundtrack is really good. Like I said, the only thing that I had a problem with in Witcher 1 and 2 was combat, and my playthrough of the 3 at PAX, it seems like they fixed a lot of it, and the combat was really smooth and awesome. So I can't wait for it. Although I was also thinking of picking the Mighty Number 9. I don't know if
Mhm.
anybody's excited for that, but
Oh
I,
yeah, that's another one, man. Sheesh, too many games.
yeah. So I think that one comes out in May, but it was between the Mighty Number 9 and The Witcher, but I'm more excited for The Witcher, I think.
Mighty Number 9 is going to be
Alright.
good.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff coming out in the next quarter that's really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I got kicked out there for a second. Google's acting up, so I apologize.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So my pick is The Witcher also.
There we
Um,
go.
I've been looking forward to this game since the day I beat the second game, and I went to E3 the past 2 years, and each year, CD Projekt had a presentation that me and Rich attended, and the stuff they're doing in this game is just insane. Like they're really pushing the limits,
Yeah.
and I'm interested to see how it's going to come out on console because they're doing like some crazy next generation shit in this game. Like,
It was. I don't know if you cut out when I like mid through my speech, but I got a chance to play like an hour of it at PAX East for the Xbox One. I believe it was the Xbox One anyway.
oh
But
wow,
it was a lot of fun. Like it was really good. My main thing was that they made the combat better, which I had a problem with in 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, especially the first one. But the first one is dated. The second one, I really liked the combat system. But
Yeah, the first one
this-
especially, it felt like I was playing like an MMO combat.
Yeah, it was terrible. But this one just looks insane. Like just the amount of detail they're putting into things, how you can research a beast, you can find out things about it and find out its strengths and weaknesses and try and lure it out and stuff. And this just walking through the forest and everything, there will just be all kinds of different dynamic stuff happening that shapes the stuff that shapes the environment and everything. Like it's crazy the stuff they're doing in this game. So
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think Skyrim is one of my favorite fantasy RPGs, but this is going to surpass it in every way. I truly believe. And as for Dragon Age, this will probably be the bad game, but Dragon Age still has a place in my heart. Like I love the
Hold on
storyline.
a second. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a real fast question.
What's up?
The storyline in Dragon Age deal with mature themes similar to The Witcher, because The Witcher they just let it all hang out. You're seeing plenty of nudity, violence, all that stuff is in Dragon Age too. Right?
Well, The Witcher is definitely more mature because CD Projekt they just don't care, man. They go in like they don't care. But yeah, Dragon Age. I mean, it has got some mature themes as well. But you can't sleep with people like on the scale that you do in The Witcher. Like it's insane.
Yeah, very graphic.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait for that. Also Mortal Kombat and Batman, Arkham Knight, and everything. There's some great games coming.
That's what I'm saying. There's too many games, But the only one of those games will probably be in the Game of the Year discussion. You both just said it. The Witcher 3. I don't know if Batman will be in that discussion.
I think Batman will be too.
We'll see.
I think it has a chance to be, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's get to the games we think might be disappointing in the next quarter. I'm gonna go first because I just realized something interesting that my pick is gonna shock a lot of people probably.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see what the response is gonna be here. I'm picking Mighty Number 9.
Whoa!
It's awesome, son.
Woo!
You're going to be chucking stones at people.
Yeah, because I just feel like this whole project has been overhyped since the day it went up on Kickstarter, and I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed by the results of it. Like, I mean, have they even kept a log or posted updates of how the money was spent and what's been happening in the development cycle and all this stuff?
I couldn't tell you.
Because I haven't seen much of that stuff, to be honest. So I think that it's going to be a letdown. It's not going to be the Mega Man game that people thought they were going to get. Like I
can definitely see that. Yeah, I think some people might be really disappointed because they want like such a great Mega Man game, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good game.
What do you think, Jake James? You think I'm crazy?
I couldn't hear you guys. You kind of broke up a second. Say that again.
You think I'm crazy?
I think you're crazy because from everything that's come out about the game and people that have tried the demo, that were some of the the Kickstarter contributors and such, saying that game is pretty awesome.
Okay. Have they like had a developer log or anything like behind the scenes of
I don't
what's
know.
happening with
From
it?
what I remember, there was supposed to be like a demo or something for a certain tier list of people who donated to the Kickstarter, where I get they got some like sort of like small demo or something. It was like one level, and then some of the gameplay that was shown on stream by Kenji Inafune it's very Mega Man esque ish, almost like to a T, but like it just looks that it controls solid. A lot of people are saying that it's pretty fun, it's pretty interesting, and again, it's Mega Man for all extensive purposes.
Okay. I just feel like people are in love with the idea and that they'll be let down when the final product actually drops. So that's my opinion on it. We'll see what actually happens. I'll admit if I'm wrong, but we'll see. Brian Manjoma, what's your disappointing title for next squad?
Oh, you really know how to cue them up. Pretty much just going off exactly what you said. Um, what
Wow,
was
I
it?
didn't even know.
Broken Age. Broken Age is pretty much what you think Mighty Number 9 will be. It's a game that started off small with like big intentions. It got overfunded. They ran out of money somehow, even though they got overfunded. The first episode got released last year. It's People weren't really that excited by it, and it's just the it's like the train behind it is nowhere near as big as it was before. People just don't have that much faith in the series anymore, and I don't know. It's just not shaping up to be as good as a lot of people thought, and it's looking to be a broken game in a broken age. Hey, I'm really funny.
That
Yeah.
was nice.
Oh, so I don't know. I just don't think that it can pull off what it wanted to do. I think that money just went to its head, and it pretty much got it. It pretty much got struck with the curse of AAA, which is spent too much time focusing on other stuff that isn't the game, rather than you know the game itself. So I don't think that it will do as well as people hoped it will do, which is a shame because I thought that it had a very interesting art style and interesting premise where you play as two different characters in completely different stories, and somehow they interconnect. Like very little games do that at all. Like mostly it's just one person and their story. So it's a shame. You know.
Cool. Okay. Jake James Lugo, what's your disappointing game for next squad?
This is gonna be a random one, to be honest with you, because I still don't believe that everybody knows that this game's coming out because they've been very silent and been very, very hush hush about it. And like, there's footage out there of the game being played in a couple places, but for whatever reason, we're getting closer to release and there's just been nothing. So I'm gonna say Godzilla the game. There's a new Godzilla game coming out, in case you didn't know, and it's based off of the traditional design of Godzilla back from Godzilla 2000, I want to say, around that kind of time frame. But there's also talk that the new Godzilla that was made here in America is going to make an appearance in it, and there's a lot of other like little nuances that like longtime kaiju fans would get. But the problem is that the people over there that are developing the game have been very quiet about it. You haven't seen anything else outside of what's already been shown at like TGS and such, and there's almost no new details. So I'm getting like a funny feeling that pretty much what we've seen right now is pretty much what the game is, and that's that. Because the game comes out in about another, I want to say about a month and a half to 2 months, give or take, like that. I have to double check the release schedule, but I'm really worried about the game. Being a Godzilla fan myself, and the last couple Godzilla games were kind of they were all right, but nothing really, to really cater to the traditional fan in me.
Okay, that's an interesting pick. I didn't even know that was coming out, to be honest. So
My point exactly.
I think it's either June or July. I don't know. I don't know what month it is, but it's one of those months.
It's like really random. It's just we haven't heard anything about it. And the thing is, Godzilla technically now is a little more relevant than he's ever been before. Especially now with apparently Japan is making their own version of a new Godzilla movie. So I'm surprised that developers aren't really talking about this. Getting a little bit more awareness out now. Hopefully by E3 we hear something a little bit better because they've just been way too quiet.
All right, cool. Um, so Richard Bailey, what's your disappointing pick for the next squad?
So I know there are going to be some people that will be trying to come after me after I say this, but it must be said. It absolutely has to be said. My disappointing game that I think will be disappointing: the Elder Scrolls Online that is finally coming to the consoles, almost a full year after it came to PC. Um, I think that I know Bethesda needed more time to work on this. Hopefully, it turns out good. But it's releasing right before The Witcher 3 and before Batman, and might I add, a week before E3. So it has the chance where it will get lost in the shuffle. I know that there's not no longer a subscription model for the game, which is good, but I have some legitimate concerns over how this is going to turn out and whether or not people are actually going to want this game because of everything else that's going to be out by the time it is out. Um, so those that are Bethesda fans probably will, you know, disagree with that sentiment. But again, Bethesda has a lot of quality games that we're going to find out about at E3. I don't really know how I don't really see them putting a lot of emphasis on this game in particular because it comes out a week before E3. But um, I just think for some reason it's not going to be quite as appealing as it would be because of the time that it's out and everything else that is out. Better not have any technical issues after this time. It better not have any technical issues, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, myself and Coalition editor David Jagnall, we're huge The Elder Scrolls fans, and we've been talking about this game over the past 2 weeks or so, and he pointed out a lot of the changes that have taken place in the game because he actually has the game on PC,
Uh-oh.
and he showed me, all the updates they've done to make the game a whole lot better, and I'm actually intrigued, and I actually might buy this as well on PC, of course. But what you say about the release window, the time that it's coming out and stuff, and it drawing attention away from it, I completely agree. I think it's going to get lost in the shuffle. I mean, it releases the same week as Batman, right? Same day, pretty much.
Well, no, Batman got delayed till the end of June.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. My bad. My bad.
it is coming out before that game drops, and The Witcher comes out about 2 weeks before this game comes out. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure people still gonna be playing The Witcher by the time this game comes out.
Yeah, I mean, coming out a week before E3, like I think around that time, a lot of people are going to hold off on purchases because
Yep.
they want to wait and see what's going to happen at E3. So that's a bad time for that game in particular to release. So I completely agree with you in that sense. But I do think that the updates they've made are significant and it might work out for the best for them in the long run. But just that release date isn't that great for that game. It should have released earlier, to be honest, like first quarter maybe, or maybe third quarter or something during summer when there's not much out.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, Anthony Nash, what's your possible disappointment?
I was thinking about putting the Elder Scrolls here just because we haven't really. I mean, after they got delayed and delayed and delayed. But for this one, it might be a little surprising. But this is also one that I'm not really too sure about, and it's Splatoon.
Oh,
Oh.
that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's coming in May. I don't know when in May, but it's like it's May to be announced, sort of. And I got a chance to play it at E3. They had it at E3. They had it at PAX East just back now on PAX Prime, and it seems kind of fun. But after they outline that like the online's not going to have any multiplayer like voice communication, and like the control scheme was a little iffy to me when I first played it. When you first played it, you use the gamepad on the Wii U, and to look around left and right, you use the gamepad, the right analog part of the gamepad, and then to look up and down, you used the gamepad. You like move the gamepad up and down. So when you get used to it, it's okay. But when you first are introduced to it, it seems a little kind of dumb that you would use one part of one device to use to look left and right, and then the other part of it to look up and down. It just seems kind of silly. But I think that it'll be a disappointment in the sense of sales and then what Nintendo probably wants it to do for the Wii U. Like, I don't think it's going to be something that people need to play or need to buy, and it's not. I don't think it's going to make the Wii U like any more fun in terms of multiplayer gaming.
Well, I like to make a very quick statement. Well, I think that the fact that we now know the NX is coming out, whatever the hell that is, that's not going to be good for Wii U. Anything they release.
Well, yeah, that and the Legend of Zelda getting delayed.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No E3. I think that's the best thing that could have happened to that game, but it's not the best thing to happen to the Wii U.
Yeah. Because now it just seems like, well, what's? I mean, they'll probably push Star Fox and Mario Maker at E3. I'm hoping they put Star Fox out there, but
That's what they're going to do. I mean, also Splatoon, because as we get closer to the summer, Splatoon's going to come out. But
Yeah.
really, the one that's really going to make the headlines then at that point is going to be Star Fox or anything else they have unannounced. And to be honest with you, there's a couple games they could probably pull out of their hat, like, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, for example.
Yeah,
But really, in all honesty, it's really going to just belong to Star Fox. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to be interested in now that Zelda, they've already said, is not going to be there.
yeah. But yeah, I don't think Splatoon's gonna maybe. I don't know. I'm assuming that they have, it's pretty high expectations for it because they're pushing. I mean, like when you see it at expos, it's getting pretty big exposure from Nintendo. Like they're trying to push it, but I just don't think it's gonna be anything special.
I agree.
I agree. I played that game too, by the way, and I completely agree with your criticisms on it.
It's a diet Team Fortress, to be honest with you. I mean, in
Yeah.
typical Nintendo fashion. Now, don't get me wrong, it's fun when you're playing with people, obviously, in a big group and online and such, but I think that's going to be like a lot of the other multiplayer-centric games that have come out recently. It's going to burn bright for a bit, and then it's going to burn out quick.
Yeah, the concept was pretty cool when it was announced with the painting everything and all that, but I don't know. I think there's going to be other games, other multiplayer-centric games that are going to be better than it.
And here's the thing, like they showed some of the single player campaign recently. Like they're starting to get a little bit much more, lighthearted about the details of that. And I think they had like a couple events where they kind of like showed off to some of the press and such. But
Right.
even then, I really don't think it's really going to be that big a deal like you were.
All right, cool. I just saw Richard Bailey yawning, and I think that yawn means that he wants to go out and explore LA a little bit.
No.
He's
We
tired
were
of
talking
it.
about Splatoon. He was like, "Man, I don't care about Splatoon."
He said, I could be watching Call of Duty right now. What am I doing?
I have to say I have respect for Nintendo because I don't want people from 4chan coming after me for saying something. So,
I have no respect for Nintendo. How about that?
whoa.
That's
All right, there you go. You won both sides.
Nah, I'm playing. Nintendo, cool. But yeah, that was our picks. So yeah, that's the show right there. Very interesting picks from everyone. You guys in the comments, let us know your thoughts as well. Which game you enjoyed from this quarter, which games you're looking forward to next quarter, which games disappointed you. Be sure to give us your list and hit us up on Twitter. I hope you enjoyed the show. Everyone, give us your last thoughts and everything. Anthony, you got any last final thoughts?
No, I mean, it's going to be a good next quarter for gaming. Even, I'm hoping that, I'm wrong on some of the disappointments, and I hope that, some of you guys are too with the Mighty Number 9 and Elder Scrolls, but regardless, it's going to be fun playing all these games.
Cool. Brian?
Just over two weeks left, Gary. Then the definitive edition of GTA 5 drops. So GTA 5 will be finally coming out of beta.
You can finally
Come
play as a
April
giraffe
14th.
and Iron Man in Grand Theft Auto.
Yo, Brian, man, don't tempt me because I already bought this game twice, so don't tempt me, okay?
I might buy it for PC because I know the PC version is going to be so much fun.
Those mods, they're going to be
Yeah.
incredible.
They're going crazy.
And,
But yeah, PC version coming soon. Hopefully, it doesn't get delayed again for the fourth time.
No, well, now that you said it,
I don't think it will because I've seen pictures of the PC codes and stuff. Like, they're selling those cards that come with a code in it and stuff. I've seen pictures of those arriving at GameStops and other retailers and stuff. So I think it's definitely gonna come out. in 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna have to stop myself from buying it again. I might have to deactivate my Steam account for a while. But
Just change your password to something that you have somebody else change your password, so you just can't even sign in. You don't even know how to buy it.
yeah, I'll have Brian do that for me. All right, Jake, James, Lugo, you got any final thoughts?
Not really much. I will say that going in now into the next quarter of this year, I feel good about gaming. There's been a lot of good stuff that's happened that I've played at this point, and there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. A lot of good games coming very soon, so everybody should be happy.
Cool. And Richard Bailey.
Yeah, I'm on to echo the sentiments of everybody. A great game to look forward to. And let me just say this. There will be some disappointing games, but any game that is able to have a successful launch, unlike Drive Club, that means it's still acceptable. So let's just
That should be written on every developer's chalkboard. we could be Drive Club.
Yes, definitely.
And I didn't notice until now Brian's little thing under his name. Waiting for
That's a funny Easter egg right there. But, yeah, I mean, my final thoughts. So far, I've been really impressed with 2015. Like, I have loads to play right now. And at first, I didn't think it was going to be that great a year. But there's been a lot of surprises. Like, Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I definitely didn't expect that to be so fun, and that's like my favorite game right now. So. Yeah, a lot of surprises. Battlefield Hardline, I didn't expect to enjoy that. I thought that was going to be a flop, the first flop in the Battlefield series. But, it's actually really good.
Wait a second. The first flop?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be the first flop.
I thought Battlefield 4 was the first flop.
Yeah, there you go.
See,
No, I'd say Evolve was really the first flop. Evolve was really rubbed people the wrong way.
The thing is though, like Battlefield 4, it just ran terrible, but the actual core game itself was good. I enjoyed it. It's just that
I thought compared to 3, it wasn't as good. But
no, it wasn't as good.
I heard that now it's a lot better. Like there's a lot more stuff. It's a little more stable and such.
Yeah.
But when I think flop, I think like games that were just bad, that so many people just really reacted really poor, bad to it over the course of the release and such. So to me, that's what it got from Evolve.
Yeah, it just took too long to fix Battlefield 4. But I think the core game itself was good, but definitely not better than 3.
Yeah, 3 was great. I see 4 kind of turned me off from Hardline. But I've heard good things about Hardline, and I really want to try the campaign, so I might have to get into that.
Oh yeah, definitely try it. But yeah, 2015, it's been great so far, and I hope it continues. It looks like we're gonna have an exciting next quarter 2. So I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that the summer months aren't dead as they usually are. But even if they are, I've got a lot to catch up on, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Batman in the summer.
Batman in the summer, that's right. For those that will not be at E3 like me and will be sad about it, at least we'll have a lot of games to play.
Oh yeah, we'll have like tons of games. There'll be like Witcher 3, Batman, GTA 5, Project Cars. So it seems like enough for everyone to tide over until
Maybe
fall.
Drive Club PS Plus edition.
And don't forget your favorite, Brian. God of War 3 Remastered Edition.
Oh yeah, that's right. Brian's most anticipated.
I don't need it. I have it here. God of War 3. I have the original.
No,
I don't
that's
need the
his
remaster.
Is that a PS3, Brian? What is that? No, that's not
PS3 edition. There's no need for the remastered, which is the same game for no reason.
Yo, there's something I forgot to say on the co-op that I really wanted to say. But what is the point of PlayStation Now if they're gonna remaster
Well, there you go. Yeah, good question.
That'll be a question for next time.
It's just there.
Because that game is on there. Like, I don't see why they needed to remaster it. But yeah, definitely leave your comments, guys. Let us know which games you liked and which games you're looking forward to. We're out. Peace out.
Yep. Later, people.
See you later, everybody.